Hello, and welcome to this session on effective pipe mapping in mWater, where we'll take a look at how you can map and edit pipes in the mWater Surveyor app and in the portal. For those of you who are not yet familiar with mWater, here's a brief overview. mWater has grown to be a solution for all of your wash, that is to say water, sanitation, hygiene, health, data collection, monitoring, mapping and management needs, all in one free platform. That means that you can collect any type of data at any quantity and you can use it for free in an unlimited way, while still retaining full rights to your data and keeping your data secure. mWater comprises an app, the free Android app, iOS app, and web app that you can run even in your browser. That is where that data collection happens. Then there is the portal where you can do all of this data monitoring, mapping, and management, designing surveys, viewing your water systems, and so on. And over the past decade and more, we've grown to be a global leader in wash data management with a global user base of over 7,000 registered organizations, more than 350,000 users using the platform in all kinds of ways for water data management and beyond, as well as now 100,000 pipes mapped. And that's what we'll be focusing on today. It's a very active platform. Just to give you a sense, 40,000 images uploaded every day around the world, 1 million survey responses. So surveys are free-form questionnaires that you can design. And then infrastructure sites when we're talking about things like water points, schools, health facilities, 80,000 added per month. So on this map, each dot here represents some kind of location, a site as we call it. Some will be water points, some will be water systems, 1,000 of which this year have been mapped every month. So if we were to zoom into a point, we would see that some of these would represent water systems, so you can go all the way to that level of detail, and further still to these individual points and pipes. So you can see that each thing here would be something that you can click, view the details of, and map. So that's the level of detail you can freely use in mWater, and that's what we'll be covering today in terms of pipe mapping. So, more precisely, today we will cover the mWater Surveyor app in terms of pipe mapping directly. We'll create new pipes and edit existing ones and see how that works. We'll then also view and manage pipe data in the mWater portal, and I'll talk a bit about how pipe mapping fits in with asset management in mWater more broadly. I'll take about half of this session, and the rest is time for questions and answers and discussion on this. So, very briefly, at a high level on basic pipe mapping in mWater. You would do it with the free Surveyor app. You will use that app to map pipes inside a water system. So pipes are a type of what we call assets. So water system assets would be things like tanks, generators, valves, customer connections, water treatment facilities, and so on. At the moment, to map a pipe, all you need to do is in the app, make sure it's part of a system. So you don't have these free-floating mapped pipes, but they're part of some network. In the app and also in the portal, you can draw pipes using the touchscreen, using your mouse, or you can walk alongside a known pipe route and map things as you walk. It's not just about drawing pipes, but you can also collect other data about pipes that come with the asset standard that we have developed. That includes stuff like the diameter, the pipe material, installation date, nominal pressure, depth of installation, and so on. Incidentally, the system will calculate the length of the pipe automatically based on the GPS mapping that you do. You can still add your own manually entered length of a pipe as well. Finally, as we'll see, you can connect the start and end of a pipe to other assets, so you can build this connected network. Enough talking, let's jump into the mapping. So I will open the app now. Here we go. Let's make it look like an app. So this is what the mWater Surveyor app looks like. You can sign up, use it for free. So let's do the simplest step of mapping a pipe. Pipes are assets, so we can use the asset view or we can use the map like so. If we use a map, we can find our water system, in this case my Hervanta water system, this test system like this. And then here, if we wanted to add a pipe, what's the simplest way to do that? I can just add an asset here. Now, I'll just put it in the pipe system because this is where I track my pipes. I will add an asset, and in adding the asset, I will just choose the type to be pipe. I can give it a name if I want. Let's say customer pipe. And then we can get to the important side of mapping it. Here in the location section, we can draw the pipe. We get into this kind of interface. So what's this? Here we are on the map. We have a few options. We can, of course, zoom the map in and out. We can choose the layer between a road map and a hybrid map that shows satellite and road information. At the top, we have these optional start and end points. On the bottom left, we can center our map to where we are. So this is, of course, critical if you are walking alongside a pipe. You can keep doing that. We can add points and undo them. So let's add a pipe. Let's look at these other elements of the system. Let's just add a pipe between 2 points. Starting here. We can then add another point and another point. Finally, get to this final point. Say we're finished adding. There is our basic pipe map. And we can close it. We now have drawn our pipe. And that's the basic action for pipe mapping. So I'll already click create to create my pipe. So now this pipe has been created and it exists. It's called customer pipe. It gets a custom ID, a unique ID, and it's in my water system. I could then, if I wanted to, start things like surveys or workflows for it. I can even add child assets like valves or something else to it. Next, let's edit this pipe to give it some more information. So on the top right, if you have the permissions to do so, you can edit pipes. Brings me back to this view. So here I can, first of all, we could edit the shape. Let's say we didn't quite get that right. So we could select a point and edit it. Could move it, say this was actually going here under the street. You can add points. Here, undo as needed. Finish adding, move between points, remove points as well. What else can we do here? We can also do what I promised earlier. We can link these sites to other assets. How to do that? I can go to where the start is and it will automatically scan other elements here. So this connection is within 20 minutes of my crosshairs, 20 meters. I'll pick Alice out. And you can see that that snapped, my pipe snapped right to that household connection. Say that's the right thing. Maybe it wasn't the right thing. Maybe it should be junction here. Instead, I could choose there. So now it snaps to that corner of these two pipes here. So the pipe continues from there. Similarly for the end, we've got another customer connection here. We can move our crosshairs to the end and connect there. So now we've connected the start and the end from the pipe to our customer. Let's save our changes. And then let's see what else can we fill out. Assets in mWater can contain many properties. These are standardly defined. If there's other data that you also want to collect, you can create surveys and connect them to assets. So we can mark the status, how the asset is currently being used. Is it active, not functional, being built, so on? It's active. And then the condition, useful for flagging assets that need some attention. So let's say it's good. Financial replacement cost. This is also important because in our asset management features, there is a console that gets automatically created and will provide you valuable information if you have filled in things like the expected useful life and current replacement cost. Let's say it's about 4,500 euros to replace this pipe. And we expect it to last for 50 years. There's this technical section with further information if you wanted to. When was it installed? Well, that was last month, let's say. And it's not been serviced really. Let's just say no. Nominal diameter, there's different unit types. It's 50 millimeters over here. This is where I could enter the pipe length manually. And as you can see, these are optional fields. So hydraulic information, well, this is high density polyethylene. What type of pipe is it? It's distribution main with a nominal pressure of 16 bar. And here in the north, where it gets cold, it's going to be 2 meters underground to stay safe from the frost. So I've added all this information now, and I can save it again. So now I've got this pipe. So one more time, how do I add a pipe? I need to be in a system, so I need to pick a system like this. I can then say where I want to have it. I can create it at the top level, but the system can have nested elements. So I could create it here, just create a pipe, then map it. And this time, let's connect it from this junction here. Let's link it at the start to the pipe junction, mark it there, have it go across the road and towards our customer there. There we go. And then add some basic information. So, and then we've added another pipe. Fantastic. Now we put this, if we wanted to put it under another parent asset, so in this case under the pipes, we can do that. So we have a sort of parent asset that is meant to hold all pipes. We could find that here. Could we? Put it under some asset, other asset like this. Now it's nested. We can save it. All right. And before we move on from the app, let me just show you what to do if you do not yet have a system mapped. So let's say you're starting from scratch and mapping a system. You can go to the map, add a water system, make it protected or private. Call it my demonstration water system. Put it somewhere on the map. It's relevant. So it's the next town over, let's say, somewhere over there. We can have a coverage area and so on, but let's not bother with that. We just need to have the system. As soon as we've got the system, we can do more pipe mapping. So we add an asset, we create a pipe, we draw the pipe wherever it needs to be, very simply. Connect it to sources, treatment facilities, pumps, tanks, and so on. And we've created a pipe. Very good. So that's the pipe mapping side. Let's also take a look at the portal side of things. So what is it like to have the management side of our pipes, pipe mapping, in the portal? So asset management in general, I'll talk about that more, but in mWater you can map the assets of your water system easily and at scale. So here's an example of a town, city, where lots of different types of pipes are mapped at transmission main, primary main, and so on. You can do much more, manage customers, meter reading, billing, accounting workflows. You can edit these pipes, you can get them visualized, and you can make your water utility more operationally effective. How do we do that? So let's go to the portal. This is at portal.mwater.co, and we can find our water system here under Sites, Water Assets. So infrastructure, basically, water assets. And there's a whole lot of water systems I might be able to see if people have made them visible to my user account. I pick my Hervanta water system, and I see that the pipes I mapped in the app have synced with the server and are visible to me. So here I have this water system view where I can view all my assets. I get information about my asset overview, as well as, if I've enabled it, things like accounting. So we can click these assets here. So now we have this customer pipe that we first mapped. We can edit it. So if there's something that wasn't quite right, we can review it. We have this advanced editor here where I can start tweaking the pipe exactly as I like, as you can see. Change properties, review it, everything. You can also look at the history of changes. I can see that this pipe belongs to the pipe system. And here I see the child assets. So customer pipe 1 is part of pipe asset, the pipe system, which is part of our water system. So we have this hierarchy you can see. So pipe system, I've just kind of grouped them together like this. We have a pipe with a child pipe because it's a little tiny pipe. Very good. So that's the basic way you can just click around, explore, and edit pipes. Now, I want to show this asset overview, which is a console, an analysis console that gets automatically created when you've created your water system. It shows you how many people you're reaching based on population information, how long is your overall pipe system, as well as giving you asset details. So you'll see that I've mapped 8 pipes, and for those ones that I've filled in information, it starts to show here. So that's nice, I see some information. But I can also see maintenance and financial information. So I can see pipes, oh, there's 2 good pipes out of the ones I've entered data for, and 1 is marked as good. Age-based maintenance, okay, no, nothing seems to be coming up as a warning thing right now. Within expected useful life exceeding, it will alert here. So the more data I put in, the more valuable information I can expect to get out. Same with financial information. How much would it cost, for example, to replace all of my pipes? Well, I've only really entered a little bit of pipe cost information here so far. So that's immediate value that you get when you're using water system features. I'll also mention that you can use the portal to import pipes. We have tutorials on importing assets. If you have your pipe information elsewhere, you can try importing it yourself, or if you have challenges, you can talk to us at problems@mwater.co. I still wanted to talk a bit more about how this pipe mapping links to our asset management in general before opening up the floor. So let's look at presenter view. Here, our broader vision for mWater's tools for service providers. These are our features that go beyond the sort of individual point mapping, water quality testing, to a vision of a data-driven utility. So at the very core of this is asset management. So I want to emphasize that mapping your assets, including your pipes, is the very fundamental step that will help you manage your utility better. You can do that offline. You can import data in, you can export data. This is the basic element of your mapping, digitizing the information you have, so you have at hand knowledge of what is where and what condition it is, and more details about it. But that's just the starting point. In our free offering, we provide much more. We give you finance tools, so a utility accounting system that you can use to the degree that makes sense to you. Planning tool that we launched at the start of the year. You can find materials on all of these things. This allows you to do things like estimate budgets, plan capital improvement, expansion. How much would it cost, to be simple about it, how much would it cost to reach a certain amount of more people, or given a certain amount of money that you might have, how many more people could you reach? We have a commercial customer database and billing system, meaning you can create tariffs, levy charges on customers based on monthly fees, other fees, and the amount of water that they consume. That means that in the mWater app, you can also do meter reading and visit customers, do meter reading, and then automatically generate the required cost of the transactions. Brand new is a major upgrade to our issues, what we call workflows, being able to do digital work orders, turn your processes digital. I'll talk about those in just a moment. That also extends to using mWater for customer service. You can use surveys for that. You can use workflows now as well. What's still coming is more key performance indicators and more automatic and structured water quality monitoring. Of course, tens of thousands of people have used mWater for water quality monitoring already. So I wanted to use this opportunity here in this webinar, before we move on to questions, to announce that we have a brand new feature coming out in its first iteration, in its first version this week, what we call workflows. What are they? They're a powerful way to automate, structure, and track processes. That's very, very flexible, what a process is. So that means that you could keep on top of your pipe leak reporting and repair. So you can imagine that somebody reports a leak in a pipe. You can then report it, locate it, and assign the repair to some technician, and then make sure that the repair gets done with all the steps involved, and escalate it if it takes too long. Make sure that the right people are there. Right people are doing the right things at the right time. It doesn't just have to be responsive like that. You can have a process around creating a new customer connection. What are all the things that need to happen in the world for you to create a connection, and keep on top of that? You can have regular time processes like reminders on doing monthly meter readings, or quarterly, or 6 monthly. It can be water quality sample and response. It can be customer feedback, and really anything. Anything that you have a business process around can, with this new feature, in principle, be turned into a workflow. We're releasing these features out for free. Give them a try. Provide feedback. They're still evolving. With the generous funding from UNICEF Madagascar, we're able to make it available for all. And we feel there's enormous potential here. We are building a library of these expert workflows, workflow types that you can pick up and use. You can create copies and tweak them to your needs. And we really hope that this helps evolve mWater from this excellent system of record, where you can track information, visualize it, make decisions on it, and push it even further into a system of action that allows you to launch actions, launch processes on the basis of data, whether that's a survey result, a site information, sensor data, something else. Finally, we will be posting this recording online, but there's plenty of free resources and training materials that we provide for everybody. You can go to our portal and find the resource center with guides on basically all topics in the platform. We also maintain a video channel with lots of interesting videos, as well as a training center where you can get certified with basic elements of the portal and the app, and point colleagues to if you want to. We should be, next year, 2026, be working on an asset management, utility management training course to add to the mix. So lots of free materials, and really 99% of our users independently pick up the platform and use it in very excellent, flexible ways. Finally, hope this has been great and useful for you so far. Always feel free to connect with us if you want to keep track of the latest and greatest new features, webinars, and events in the mWater world. I would recommend following our LinkedIn profile. Of course, our website has blog posts, case studies, and so on. The portal has a news feed, and our YouTube channel, if you subscribe to it, you'll get notifications when new videos are posted. Feel free also to email us if you are thinking about deeper collaboration. We're happy to partner with utilities and with organizations. So with that, I'll close this part where I'm presenting to you and review any questions that you might have had, and open the session for some discussion. Thank you very much for your attention so far.